Afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another live WP Studio event. My name is Benjamin. I'm the professor, founder, breaker of all code things here at WP Studio. If you want to learn more about us, you can read it on the website. I don't have to go through that. You can find it at WPstudio.com. I do encourage you to join us over on the chat room. It's a free public chat room at WPstudio.com/chat. Over there is the place to ask your questions during the presentation. As well as you can get a link to the YouTube live simulcast that's also going. So, without further ado, it's been a great pleasure over the years working with Scott and Jim and featuring and using pods through many different projects we've been doing here at WP Studio and before when I was with iThemes. And so it's great to have them here to kind of talk about how to not only deploy, plan, build, and launch a pods-based project. And so Scott, Jim, welcome. And I just want to turn it over to Jim and you can take control of the video.
Oh, thanks so much. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen too. Need to get that started. Well, Scott, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself while I'm doing that?
Sure. My name is Scott Kingsley Clark, and I am, of course, the lead developer of the Pods project. We also have Jim here, who is one of the three main pillars to our team. Of course, Phil is one of our developers as well. But we are very excited to have this whole demo here because it shows off some really cool stuff, as well as something that's coming in Pods 2.7, which is one of my favorite things. It gets rid of the need for loop fields almost entirely, which is flexible relationships, which lets you add new related items at will right there from in the form. So it's going to be really cool stuff to see.
Indeed. Well, look, I'm really looking forward to that one too. We've done a video on it and we've talked about it before. I've done a meetup where I actually showed it off and tried to keep it under the wraps that, oh, this is what's coming. See, isn't this nice? Who needs loop fields? Anyway, what we decided to do with this one is to actually take a project from concept to launch. And I've been working with pods for, I guess this is my third year, I think coming up on third year. And I'm the support lead. I'm the one that you typically deal with when you hop in our Slack chat and stuff like that. So we're going to ask quickly, how is this screen? Are you guys able to read everything on my screen comfortably? Do I need to make it a little bigger, smaller? Okay. Yep, it's a Google Drive doc. I'll be sharing it after the fact. We aren't going to do it now because I need to add in the JSON, et cetera, for our exports too. So it's all in one place and we can just publish it all at once. Okay, guys? All right, so our project that we're working from is basically going to be the Hercules training gym. Since Scott had to do the nice little 0 to hero, I knew he was like channeling, the 0 to hero in No Time Flat from the Hercules movie.
I can't take the credit. I believe that was Benjamin's idea for the title.
Well, there you go. Then it's Ben. Well, Ben, somebody did it, and I tend to take little ideas and run with them. So what we're going to actually be creating today is this website, the 0 to Hero Training Academy. The client has asked us for a staff page, so where they can actually, show off their staff members, and they wanted to be able to show like featured staff members and also their support staff or their cheering squad, the muses down here. They wanted to have a frequently asked questions page. They wanted a contact form. And they also wanted the contact form to be treated like a lead generation system, where when folks actually fill out the form, they go into a CRM that's managed inside WordPress, and the trainers can actually work from that. Now, what that means is we've also got a hidden little section that has the client list that only the people who are logged in, the trainers, can see. We also have pods managing the business hours and the business locations. So this is the project we're building today. So I'm starting with a pretty blank website. Has absolutely very little in it whatsoever. We've installed pods. We've installed the pods Gravity Forms add-on, and we've installed Gravity Forms. This one is definitely using Gravity Forms. We work with other forms engines, and you can work with the pods form shortcode. But for this particular demonstration, we're showing off Gravity Forms. The only thing I have done in the site so far is really just create the homepage. And since I actually, when I first installed this one, it was actually 2017. 2017 automatically throws in pages for you. So I took advantage of them. So I'm actually going to use their about page and turn that into our staff page, and the contact page and turn it into our contact us page. But that's pretty much all we have right now. So going back to our project list, since they need a staff listing, we're actually going to start with a staff listing. And this is one thing with WordPress when you're working with pods. You want to take advantage of what WordPress actually does for you automatically. No, Marianne, we're actually doing this on 2016 just because I like 2016 more. But what we're going to do is at the end of the podcast, I'm going to flip to another theme. So we're going to flip to 2017 and show you that you lose absolutely nothing from what you do with pods and pods templates. Okay. So what we're going to show you is that typically when you're working with WordPress and with pods and custom post types, you want to take advantage of what the theme and what WordPress automatically gives to you, which means you want to take advantage of things like the post title. You want to take advantage of the post content. You want to use the featured image if you need it. Little things like that, because those three items are automatically going to be handled and reflected in your theme automatically. And then all you really have to worry about is showing the content that isn't handled by your theme. So we're going to do two different kind of setups like that. We've got a frequently asked questions, which is, honestly, this is how simple frequently asked questions is going to be. We're going to have a question and an answer. The question is going to be the post title. The answer is going to be the post content. We're going to turn off everything else, and that's going to be your simplest pod to create. So we're going to hop in here to pods and create the frequently asked questions. We're going to do a create new. We're going to create a custom post type. We're going to call it a FAQ. And you know what? Facts are facts. I'm going to leave them the same. I don't like pluralizing FAQ. I'm just weird that way. So when you create a post type, that's pretty much all it does. You have now created a post type that is using the post title and the content. I haven't turned on featured images or anything else. One other thing we do want to turn on, though, is we want to turn on the enable archive page, because we do want FAQ to go to a listing of all the frequently asked questions. So we're going to save this pod. Oh, and that was enable archive page right there. Okay, so now we hop into FAQ, and we're going to create one. You know, have to be a Greek god to join your gym. I guess I could say a god's bastard or something. I don't know. Did I cuss? That wasn't a cuss word. From Game of Thrones. Yeah. You publish it, and you view it, and look, you have a question with an answer. Bam, done.
Look at that fancy URL. It has FAQ in the start of it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I know. That tells you got a frequently asked question. Now, if you go like to this and you take the slug off the back, ta-da, archives FAQ. So if I add another frequently asked question, I guess I should talk while I'm typing, huh?
I can do the talking if you want.
Oh, during those little odd points like that when I go quiet, sure. That'll work. This is one thing I never actually realized, but when you activate archives and you're looking at all your frequently asked questions, that little view FAQ will take you to the archives page. I have been working with WordPress for like 10 plus years. That's the first time I've ever noticed that.
It's newish.
I was wondering if it was.
Yeah.
So like this, it's not a great layout. We could probably design something that looks a little better, yes. But to be honest, it works. And we're going to add that to the menu real fast. It'll be a custom link. And put There. One part of our little project done. Okay, so now we're going to do some real stuff with custom post types. We're going to do a staff members. So we got two options here. I want to show you one nice little nifty thing that we do with pods. It's in the component section, which is where templates are. There's also this nice little thing called migrate packages. If we enable this, this gives us the ability to import and export gigantic pods configurations. So I can actually go to my existing website. I can go into the dashboard under pods. Let me make that a little bigger. I can go into migrate packages and I can export my existing configuration. And it's letting me see all of the different pods I've created and all the different templates that I've created for them. So we have this ability to do this. I'm going to go ahead and create the staff, but then on the other ones, I'm actually going to do some import export so that you can see how this works. Okay. So let me turn off those guys. Well, in this case, actually, the ones I'm looking for are those two little templates right there. So this is really good for when you want to, when you're playing with, you're setting up stuff and you're testing stuff, and you've got something that you actually like, and you want to just export the structure and then move it over into a new pods website. So for right now, I'm going to go back and we're going to create our staff. And it's going to be another custom post type. And I got to remember what all our fields are. They are, we're using the staff member name as the post title, first name, last name. The bio is going to be the post content. Their photo is going to be the post thumbnail, job title, plain text, and featured yes, no. Because we want to make sure that some of the staff members can be elevated and escalated up to being, as a more personally highlighted. And Scott, while I'm doing these, if you want to, do you want to talk about the idea of possibly doing this as a extended user instead?
Sure. Yeah. So a lot of people may almost instantly just decide just to make a user pod and add the fields there for the staff and list them as staff members that way. However, I'm kind of in the camp of let's not give user access to every staff member who may not need to do anything on the website if they don't need to have it. So I like to just create another post type like this. And then I can actually, if we wanted to, we could have the post author field enabled on that pod, on the post type. And through capabilities and roles, we could give access to users to edit their own staff records. So we could still do a lot of the cool things, but not be as constricted of having every single staff member as a user, because that can get really crazy and you may want to do a lot of different things there and draft things, and you can't really do drafting with users. So there's a lot of really cool things that are built right into post types that are very useful in these sort of use cases.
And this is something we're actually going to do in our phase 2 of this, because we want to actually talk about using user roles and capabilities and the whole concept of authenticating users and letting them edit things on the front end. And that's going to be in our second part of this particular presentation, because this comes to our support a lot, where folks are actually asking us to, well, I want to do everything on the front end. Well, sometimes you don't want to do that. That's sometimes not always a great idea. And one of the primary reasons you don't want to do that is because you have to validate that the person should have that kind of access to do that. Okay, we have created our fields. Now I need to actually activate 2 additional things. I want the featured image because we're using that. We're putting their biography in the editor and they're doing the post title there. But this is where you actually find that. It's under advanced options, down at the very bottom, supports, featured image, title editor. I'm not enabling the archive on this one because I don't care about it in this case. I'm actually just doing one page to show off the staff. When we revisit this project, we're actually going to add services and some other things to them, and we'll show you how to enable the hierarchy pages and do some auto templates for these. Actually, in this particular case, I'm first time ever I'm doing a pods project where I'm not using auto templates. I know, shock, right, Scott?
Yes. Oh, and we should probably also mention, it was really easy for Jim here to create these fields for this pod. He already knew what he was going to be building because he had a scope, a document that he created ahead of time before starting any of the code to decide what he wanted to do for his project. So planning is step one. You really need to make a document, decide what you want on your content types, throw around some ideas, and as you go along, go back, revisit, and make revisions to that to make sure that everything is exactly as you're wanting. And when you get to the pod side of this, it's so much easier to just sort of just go through and add the things you want to do. And if things change, it's easy to do that on the fly with pods because you can manage those fields and really kind of architect your whole site very, very easily.
I don't think Hercules has a last name, so we're just going to put him down as Hercules, son of Zeus. I'm not actually making use of the first and last name anyway, but what did I call him? There we go. But he is a featured staff member. Now, if I publish him and we look at him on here, we're going to see that our single post template is going to pick up from WordPress, and it's actually going to automatically show the title, the featured image, and our post content, but none of our actual none of our custom fields. So in this particular situation, I've actually created a pods template that specifically highlights the staff members in a specific way. So I am going to actually show you guys what a pods template looks like. I'm going to create one. I'm going to pop over here and look at it again. We call this the primary staff. Okay. What we're doing is kind of creating like a mail merge template, which we're going to it's going to go through our staff list, and for each record in the staff list, it's going to show a specific layout that we've designed that we want to show. So we're actually going to create like a little HTML and with styles and stuff like that template here that uses our staff reference to show what we want it to do. So in our case, we actually want to do like a header 2 with the image, thumbnail image aligned to the right. We want to actually show the job title below the post title in italics and maybe a little smaller. And we also want a little button, which we're going to add later. I'm not going to add that right now. So I'm just going to take this part of the thing and we'll walk through it again. So what we're doing is we're doing a H2 title. We've got an image width like 300 and it's floated to the right. For the source of that image, we're using the post thumbnail, which is all the way over here. Post thumbnail url.small. That means it wants to take the small version of the, oh, wait a minute. Do I even have that? I've got medium, large. I don't have small. Small must be automatic. So we'll see if that works.
I think it defaults to the thumbnail. Small it's thumbnail, medium, large, and full.
Gotcha. I think my original theme that I did this on actually had small. So let's change that to medium. There we go. All right. And in the alt tag, I've got the post title and I'm escaping it as an attribute. Do I need to do the escape URL?
I would do comma escape underscore URL for the post thumbnail.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It's just,
you want to explain
really
to them
why to be safe.
Yeah.
So for instance, someone has gone into your website database and has caused chaos and has decided they want to insert some really nasty stuff, maybe some HTML in there that loads up something. If you do not escape your content when you're putting inside of attributes, for instance, they could be displayed very easily and get around those sort of issues. Also escape attributes for post title. They could put some stuff in there like quotes, which could break things in the HTML. So it's good to escape them in the context of where they are. Yeah.
Okay. And there was a question that popped up about can we do all this with Beaver Themer? Of course you can, but we're not doing that. We're showing you the WordPress way first. We are going to talk to Ben about doing a seminar specifically on using Beaver Builder and Beaver Themer. But that'll have Bernard on it. Okay, so continuing on, I have floated my image to the right up here with the style tag. I've got the post title, which is the, obviously going to be Hercules, whatever that's the break, the span style, reducing the font size, and putting the font size for the job title in italic. So it's right here. And then I am putting the post content in paragraph after that. So if I publish this, and I now have a template, we're going to go into the About page and change it to be our staff page. So we're going to go in here, whack all the silly text that came from WordPress, get rid of that. I'm weird when I do short code, since I'm actually going to do a short code to do this. I like to be in text mode because I don't like what WordPress does to my text in the visual editor. So we're going to show a list of records, list multiple pod items. We want to use the staff, and we want to use that custom template we just created. I'm not going to do the where clause right now, but before we do the all the staff members, I'm going to show it off to you. Okay, so now if we view this page, ta-da, it worked. It took the post title, it took the job title, it threw his image over here to the right, and it took the post content in. So pretty nice stuff. Neil's got a question about caching. Do you want to answer that one in
Sure.
subtext?
While you're doing your thing.
Yeah,
caching is very good when you're dealing with a complicated site like this site right here. It's not that complicated. So we might have like 5 or 6 people. That's not very complicated. But when you get into dealing with pagination and a large amount of data, we're talking hundreds of records that you need to deal with, and complicated queries, like if you want to restrict them by certain meta values and all sorts of different filtering, that if it was cached, it could actually improve the performance quite a lot. It also depends on your host, because not all hosts support every caching option like object caching. Great hosts like the WP Engine and sorts like that, SiteGround, they all have mem caching or something like that for object caching, which lets you cache your stuff once you actually run it the first time, and the next time it runs, it doesn't have to hit the database. It's just a very quick loading on the screen.
Okay. Now added all our staff members, but I doubt they have their pictures loaded automatically. We'll see. Yeah, they don't. So let me do those real quick. Keep talking, Scott.
Well, Hercules is actually one of my favorite Disney films. My wife does not like Hercules at all.
Really?
She's like, this is a terrible movie.
I love that movie. It's some of the best music. It's very fun.
Yeah, it's very catchy. I used to listen to the soundtrack in different languages.
Oh, really?
It's great. Yeah, it's even better in Spanish and in French. It's just great.
Yeah, I've always thought it was clever. I like what they did with the muses. I thought that was really fun. So,
question from Neil about caching. When you would not want to cache is actually it depends on the circumstance. So let's say you have users that are logged in and you want to display information, but the information is tied to that specific user. If you're caching it, if you're caching it in the short code when you're listing items and you've got your parameters limiting it to that user, it's not bad. But if you're doing it in more, this is more for PHP. If you're doing a higher level caching where you're caching all of the markup that's being generated, if you don't cache it based on that user, then every user can see the output of that caching. So that would be a very problematic circumstance. But you would definitely want to be careful in that case when you have logged in users seeing specific information for them. Always think about what you're going to be caching and how, and making sure that you're making all those cache restricted by the user ID. So you can add the user ID into the mix when you're doing the caching to identify the cache itself. But that's in the PHP side, more complicated.
Okay, I think we have got our staff loaded now. And you're going to notice something. Oh, no. My non-featured people are featured. I've got to fix this. So now is when we're going to use some fun little stuff in our short code. we're actually going to add a where clause. So in this case, we know we're using featured staff as the checkbox that shows whether someone needs to be in this particular section. So we're going to go featured staff.metaValue. And do you want to give them the link to the find page, Scott?
Sure, I'll post it inside the chat. It's a great resource. I actually use it all the time.
Same here.
It's just useful, and I pass people to it all the time also. But it's just a really very useful page. It gives you a full rundown of all the syntax you need for operating within the where clause and other pieces of the short code. So this syntax works for where, it works for group by, having, it works for order by. So it's very useful for sure.
Mateus, was this part a bit over your head? The featured staff meta value equals 1?
I think it was the caching.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, because in this particular case, the featured staff is a yes/no field. It's a checkbox. So in this case, it's custom meta. It's pods meta, so it's a dot meta value, and equals 1 means that it is checked. It would be 0 if it was not checked. So if we view the page now, we should have only our highlighted staff listed. Oh, look, I must have imported Hercules twice. Let me get rid of the other one. I didn't even notice that. Oh, that's what I get for importing people.
Yeah. Oh, while I have a second, I want to give a quick shout out to Mina. I just got your donation from your monthly Friends of Pods sponsorship, so thank you very much. It's a great program that helps us survive because we're doing a free project here. So it's just from the love of our own hearts that we make this project and put it out for everyone. So we really enjoy being able to eat while doing that.
Eat? You want us to eat? Pay the bills? That kind of thing. So I have another pods template that I'm creating that's going to be specifically for the non-featured staff. And I run into this kind of particular thing all the time. Like I'm actually using the exact same template I used for this site that I built for a client. I think I did this site in maybe less than a day. But yeah, she's got like the primary staff, and then she's got like the sub staff. So that's what we did. Look, does this look familiar? Business hours. I mean, it's like frequently asked questions. Yeah, it's got all of it in there. Anyway, okay, so this template that I'm creating, let me copy that real fast. The only difference here is that it's going to create a grid of images with their names underneath them. So like basically a div list. And we always like suggest to people to understand how HTML and CSS works, because a lot of the stuff that Beaver Builder and all these other little things do is so easy when you realize that all we're doing is like, I could have done this as like list items and made it so that they weren't, what do you call it? They didn't have like display dots in front of them, the list item blocks in front. In this case, what I did was I just basically did a div. I'm doing a float left with a little bit of top and bottom margin. I've got a post thumbnail in there, and I've got another div inside it that's display block with the H3, their post title, a break, and then another little subtext for their job title. So pretty straightforward, and all of that is in an H3 tag, the post title and their span, so that they'll actually come up as like, so they all basically would look like staff to Google. Does that make sense, guys? I think I said that right. The sub-staff. Thank you, Benjamin. Duh. Have to add the short code for it, Jim. What were you thinking? Okay. Well. Oops. Sorry. Alrighty. Pod's name equals staff template equals hi, kid. Where equals featured staff. Meta value equals 0. And as Scott wanted me to tell you guys, just in case you didn't have this filled in here before, you want to say put an or statement in here And we're also going to say, or featured staff is null, because it could be that field could not have possibly been there at some point in time, and we want to make sure that we're covering it.
Right. It would be a featured underscore staff dot meta value.
Features. Oh, duh. Thank you, Scott. That would have errored. Ta-da. Is null. That should work now. Let's see. And I think we're going to do a podcast or one of these on just like rapid prototyping with shortcodes and templates, so that you guys can get a little handle on all the different ones. Okay. Oh, I think it's because there. Now they're all 5 sitting side by side. My page was zoomed in too much. So now we have done the staff page. We've done the fact page. Man, we are moving along. Now we're creating a client CRM. So, and we're going to tie it together with a contact form. So we're doing pretty good. 30 minutes, not bad, guys.
And something we should probably note is that list of the fine ladies in that whole group there. That may not be in the order of maybe the credits inside the actual movie. So like if you wanted to reorder it, you could use a plugin like Post Types Reordering or Post Types Ordering. There's a number of plugins that do it, but basically you can drag around the staff members from the staff page itself. And then in your templating, in your shortcode there, you just add another parameter for order by. And you can say order by equals, quote, menu underscore order. And that would essentially order it in the order that you've chosen. So it's very useful to be able to do that. And for instance, if you had added someone who was not Hercules first, but they had a name that was alphabetically first, so it could be, let's just call it Bart. So we got a Bart guy, and he's showing up first, but we know Hercules is the main deal, so we can use post-type reordering to do that.
And we're actually going to be talking about a couple of interesting little things in here too, because I'm going to be adding a menu item to the site that we don't want our visitors to see. And it's going to be basically the client list, the CRM, because we're actually creating a post type here that's not going to be visible to anyone on the web. They aren't going to be able to search for it. They're not going to be able to query for it. It's not even going to have like any kind of like representation on the front of the site whatsoever. And it's for our clients, because our clients is going to be our lead generation system. And let me go in here and get my list of fields I need to add there. Ta-da. Okay. First name, last name, email, phone, and internal note. Okay, got it. It's pretty straightforward. Oh, and we're also going to add a relationship field to this one too. Haha, forgot about that. So, first name. Last name. Email. Did I say email address or email? Email. Okay. Phone. Can you guys still hear me okay? I keep moving away from my microphone.
I hear you great.
Okay, cool. We got dead space in here. Benjamin, speak up. Tell us a joke.
People who are used to hearing WP Studio events, a lot of times I will do something like, "Hey Google, tell me a joke."
Nice.
Joke coming up. Why do gorillas have such big fingers? Because they have such big nostrils.
And then you
so
never know
glad
what's going to
Google's so
happen.
close.
So thank you for that little side trail.
I was worried there for a second.
Okay. That was good, actually. I like that. We're creating our relationship field now, because we actually want to make sure that when these folks, when they come to your website, they're going to see like the featured staff at the top, and we want to link from the staff that actually sends them directly, kind of like a call to action that says train with Hercules or train with Philoctetes. and it's going to go straight to the contact form and automatically select that particular staff member. So we want to pass that information into our client form when we do that. Or if we're adding a client from a telephone call, we want to be able to assign it to a staff member very easily as well. So we're going to add our first relationship field, and we're going to select staff, and we're going to do some special stuff. We're going to go make it a multiple select. No, actually, no, it's a single select. I'm sorry, my bad. Can only have one staff member at a time. But we are going to use our new relationship field called list view.
I love this field. It's one of my favorites.
Is it one of your favorite fields, Scott?
I tell you.
Field. Is there another field I needed? Oh yeah, we're using the post content here as the message, and we're actually going to activate comments on this one. And let me say, added that field. Yeah, they're all in there. Advanced options. We want to turn on comments, but we also want to do some special stuff. We want to turn off public. We want to turn off publicly queryable. And we want to exclude from search. So we're turning all of those off. And this is so that none of this is visible to the outside world.
You also want to notice that there's a REST API tab at the top. If you don't want it to be accessible to the outside world, you don't want to enable your REST API because that could put a hamper on things for you.
And I missed something too. In the assigned staff, I wanted to set the default to Hercules so that if it came in and someone forgot to assign it to someone, I wanted to make sure that I set a default value to Hercules. And when you're working with a relationship, the value that you're going to be putting here for the default value is actually the post ID of that post that you're signing. So in this case, we want to go to staff. Let's do all staff, open link a new tab. There it is, wrong window. Hercules, little post type is 54. That's what we want, that number right there. And that's what we're going to put here. Whoops, not that. There we go. Hit save on the field, update field, and save pod. Okay. Now, we could go, like this. We could go into clients, and I could, clients, add a new client, and go, oh, Benjamin Vandley called me. And he likes to go by Ben. He's got an email of Ben at wpstudio.com. And his phone number is, what's an area code out there, Ben?
703.
703. And we're going to go 555-1212 because that's the generic fake phone number. And look, he's automatically had Hercules selected as his staff member. But if we don't want to give him to him, we could give him to Melpomene. Or we could suddenly say, you know what? We're tired of all these Greek people. I want to add a new user here, or a new staff member. And we're going to add Scott Kingsley Clark. Scott Kingsley Clark. He's a leader of all things pods. And he's also a featured staff member. And I don't know if I got a featured image for him. Yes, we're going to make him a coffee cup for right now.
Did I mention I love this field? Look at this. You're just doing this. You didn't have to go out of the screen.
I didn't have to go over here to staff to do this. I just added a person just like that. Isn't that ridiculously awesome, people?
This works for advanced content types, post types, taxonomies.
Users.
Works for users. It's just great. My favorite field ever. Better than loop field because it gives you actual relational data that you can reuse. Awesome.
Just like that. Now, I still need to do my contact form, but I did want you to see that you can't search for, let me see, who did I add? Ben Bradley. He's not going to come up in there. I can't go to client and see anything. I can't go to client Benjamin Bradley because it doesn't exist. It's hidden. It doesn't exist on the website. Very important if you're creating a CRM. And you'll also notice that like view is not available, and neither is view up here. So, but we can get to these, and I'll show you how to do that too. We're going to create another template here for client list. Let's see, where is it? Ah, there it is. And I'm using, this is a complicated template. You're going to get all of these so that you don't have to, so you can look at them at a time. But basically what I'm doing is I'm creating the table head with before, I'm creating the table end with after. And the only thing I'm doing here inside the actual template that's going to loop through each record is the table data that's going to output the details about that particular person. So I just have to make sure that I've got the right field names when I copy it over. So Todd's admin templates.
One thing you probably want to do, so we were talking about escaping, is if you look at the template, you just may have noticed that you inserted the ID into the URL. We know it's going to be an integer, but best practice dictates that we should escape that with at least, in this case, escape attribute. So
here?
ESC ATTR. Yep.
Got it. Okay.
And we're using escape attribute in this case, but if you're passing a full URL, then you use escape _ URL because it escapes it slightly differently.
Assigned staff instead of I had trainer assigned. I want to change that to assigned staff. See, I'm not totally insane here. Yeah. Okay. All right. Anything else? Client type. Oh, we didn't add that yet. Whoops.
Also, email address not escaped inside the href.
You're right.
I'm just making sure that we're clear to everyone else. But we make mistakes every day, sure. But it's good to not let them notice themselves that they're just copying and pasting what we do.
Yeah, that actually makes sense. So anything that's actually inside an href, if it's an attribute, it has to be escape attribute. If it's a URL, it has to be escape URL.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everything else looks like it matches. We've got the post title, the email, phone number. We're going to add client type in a minute because I need to add that taxonomy in. And because I didn't do that. Silly on me. And everything else should be fine. Okay. And if I go into add a new page. Oh, I don't think I need to add one more plugin over here, by the way. Yep, I didn't add it.
That's a good idea, Marianne. It would be really cool if we could write some sort of script that integrates with the template editor and it warns you if you're not escaping something with a magic tag, but that's very complicated.
Yes, it is.
So it may be quite a while before we're able to do something like that. But I think we should definitely add some sort of documentation right there next to when you're inserting the field that reminds you. And it also gives you a quick list of what you can use to escape.
I'm using the members plugin, which is actually our roles and capabilities inside components is based on the members plugin. I actually like the members plugin more, primarily because of what it allows you to do, which is one of the things I'm just about to do. I'm creating a client list that I only want to be visible to people who are admins on our site. So we're creating client list. We're going to make sure it's admins, authors, editors. Yeah, those three people are the only ones that should be able to see this. We're going to do a short code to show off that pods list that I just did. So list multiple pod items, clients, client list, insert, publish. And if I view this page now, ta-da, I now have my client list. But if I go into a incognito window and go to demo Hercules.dev, and what was that link again? Client list. Okay.
And if you're listing an email on a site, you can also escape it with anti-spam bot. It's just all one word, anti-spam bot. That function in WordPress will actually obfuscate the email address so when it's just being displayed, it won't be able to be picked up by some scrapers usually. I'm sure they can get around it by now, but it's one of the techniques you can use.
Okay.
It's
So
built
we've hidden this page behind permissions for members. So only if you're logged in can you see this and you're an admin. So now let me do some quick catch up here and add the taxonomy. And then we're going to do the gravity form to populate this thing. So, create a taxonomy called client type. And we want to associate this taxonomy to our clients. And this is so we can give them, oops, let me make sure all of those are done. This is so that we can make sure that they have like a type of like leads, current client, lost, that sort of thing. How are we doing on time? We got 15 minutes. We should be okay.
Sorry, I meant to mute myself when I coughed.
No problem. So, did it finish? Yes, it did. Okay. There we go. Okay, and that's actually the default that you want all new clients to come in as. So let's go in here real quick and create a form. And to save some time, I'm going to copy mine from the other side of the world. So in case you guys have never done this with Gravity Forms, you can export an existing form. Oops. My bad. Wrong place. You can export a Gravity form using import export. So I want to export that form. Desktop's fine. And I want to come back in here and import that form.
Something to note is export and import does not export and import the feeds that you create for pods. So that's something you'll want to recreate whenever you bring it over. I think at some point they may include the feeds information in the exporting and importing, but that's a Gravity Forms thing.
Yep. So now if we go in here, forms. So my form has been created. So it has the name, the first and last name from the advanced fields. It has the email address, phone, the trainer to contact. And we want to put a default. This is where we're actually going to do something kind of unusual. We're going to actually populate this dynamically, but we also want to give it a default value. We want to do two things. We want to give it the default value of Hercules, which was the particular trainer that we want to always be the default. But we also want to have the field potentially be populated dynamically. So like I can add a button on Philoctetes or Hercules that says train with Hercules, train with Philoctetes, and it sends a link over to the contact form that actually automatically populates it with that particular trainer. What we're doing to do that is using a parameter name called trainer. And that's what we're going to use for allow field to be populated dynamically, parameter name equals trainer. What this means is we're doing a query value. So I'll show you what this means in just a second.
Did you show them how to populate the list already?
What do you mean?
Well, the trainer to contact, it would populate.
No, I'm going to go do that when I go into pod settings feed. So
sure.
Yeah, I wanted to show that piece off, and I'll come back to that in a minute too, because I've also added a hidden field for the leads, which is going to be client type, and I need to set the value. Let's see, client types, leads is, this one is the term ID. So we're looking for tag ID 4. It's right there. It's kind of hidden. That's 4. So that's fine. So what we're going to do is we're actually setting the client type lead as a hidden field on the form. So no one can change it. They just automatically come in that way. But for the trainer to contact, we need to set up our pods feed. Let me update this page real quick. There we go, settings, pods. Oh, you're right. The feed did not come in, so we have to create it. Yay! Pods feed to clients. You're going to select the pod, clients.
I mentioned it because I kind of assumed that it would, and I was testing with another person's export, and I was like, "Hey, your feed isn't here."
Well, there you go.
Like,
So
no,
what we're
thought it
doing
was
is
gonna be there.
what we're doing is matching the pods field with the field from the form that it's going to be created from. So I got to do my first and last name. I'm actually going to set the post title down here as the full name of the client. Got email, phone. Assigned staff is going to be trainer to contact. Still Hercules, okay. And I want to set the client types as client type. So I can probably do the publish. That's automatically going to do it. When the publish date will come in as the post date automatically, I believe. So once we do this, if we preview the field right now, you'll see that we have first name, last name. Look, all of our little staff members are in here automatically. Isn't that cool? But if we want to force one, what we want to do is add this form to contact. So go back to my pages, contact, move that hideous text there, add a form, get started, don't need the title, enable Ajax. Is it 1 or 0 on the tab index, Scott?
I don't know.
I'll do 1.
I don't really do much for the tab index myself.
If it works, great. If it doesn't, fix it. So, okay. If we view this page now, it should have our contact form in it, and it's by default, it's showing Hercules. If we now want to override that, we can go trainer equals, and let me find one of those trainers. Let's see, trainer staff members. Philoctety, let's do Terpsichore. She's 145, post ID 145. See that 145 there? So if I go trainer equals 145, that is this particular query value, which is the default parameter. It's a get value of trainer that I used on that form, is passing over the ID and using that to automatically populate that particular field. Okay, so now you're going, Jim, but Jim, that's a lot of information. How do I do this automatically?
But Jim,
I add it to the template to make my life a little easier. I just go like this. I go back into my pods templates, and I add on primary staff a quick little line here, which I'm going to copy and paste from the other one because we are getting, I forgot all about the custom settings pages. When I was doing all this stuff, I've still got to do those. So we might have time. We might be okay. We'll see. I keep going into the wrong one, Scott. The problem when they look exactly the same. Okay, staff create, primary staff. There we go. So I'm going to add a button or a link that is going to be at the bottom of the primary staff member. And it's going to show me the URL of the contact form. And then question mark trainer equals ID escape attribute. And what this is doing is passing the ID of the trainer to my contact form and automatically selecting that when it goes to the contact form. Does that make sense, guys? So now if we go over here to 0 to hero and we go to our staff page, we have a button that says train with Hercules, and it works. We have a button that says train with Philoctetes, and it works. And we have a button that says train with Scott Kingsley Clark, and it works. This will make your clients so damn happy. I am not kidding. They will love you till the end of days. And now if we actually create a client, And then I go in here to my client list. Looky, I've been added as a lead. And all of that's in there automatically. Yeah, you can make it do that, because if you can pull in the related email address, Marianne, you can force it to go to the right place. We can show that in an advanced version. We won't be able to do it today, but we can do it on the next one, because the next version of this, we're actually going to be creating a ticket system, and we're going to want to have the ability to email both sides of the things using Gravity Forms. So. And what we've also got here now is we've got the ability to show, related assigned staff. So one thing we didn't do, which we needed to do, was actually show who the, under the staff members, we want to show the assigned clients. So we're going to add a field going the other direction. To clients. It's going to recognize the fact that we have a bidirectional relationship there. We're going to make it multiple. Use our list view again. And hit save. And save pod. And I think if I go into staff right now, I should be able to go into Scott Kingsley Clark and see that. We'll see. Or not. Oh, I know why. I'm not. I was draft. I was only draft. I wasn't actually a real client yet. I wasn't a real boy. I can't imitate Pinocchio. Sorry, guys. Oh, me. Oh, no. I'm not a real boy.
See, you did. You could do it. You just had to believe in yourself.
That's it. I just had to believe.
This is all part of the story.
And
believe
there
in
we
yourself.
are.
You can build these things.
Yeah.
Tune in next week when Jim will do the entire webinar as Pinocchio.
Nah, Dwight probably talks. Well, you know what? But I'm logged in now, and I don't have this little menu item, but I don't want that menu item to show to my clients either. So I'm going to do one more real quick little thingy. How are we doing? We got 2 minutes. Tune in next week when we add the custom settings stuff. Though, to be honest, it's going to be so easy you're going to die.
Is that the goal, or is that the circumstance?
Yeah, you're going to die. It's going to be so easy you're going to die. All you guys are just going to croak when I show you how easy it is.
Although some people will be happy because then they don't have to deal with their clients anymore.
Exactly. So we're going to add a menu here. We're going to add that page, client list. But since I've just activated, where do you show the? Oh, man. This is why I hate the customizer. Sorry, WordPress, but I really hate your customizer. Because I needed to go into here. You know what? I don't think I activated the plugin. Doofus. Installed it, didn't activate it. Can we slap Jim now? What we're doing is it basically allows you to add the ability to limit menu items based on people being logged in. So like in this case, we only want logged in users to see it, and we only want admins, editors, authors to see it. So we save it. Slaps Jim with a large salmon. That's funny. So now we have a menu item here that I see because I'm logged in, and it shows my clients. But if I go back into my this little thing, that menu is not there. So we actually can hide that menu. That was nav menu roles, Brent. So, okay, let's see how fast.
NAV.
NAV, nav menu roles. Let's see how fast I can import the other items that I need. So let's see, micro packages. I'm going to import or export my custom settings. So I need business settings. And I need the business hours and business details. Going back over here, dashboard, pods admin, edit pods. Oops, migrate packages, import, continue. Business settings were created and 2 templates were done. Woohoo! And what you'll see is that we now have a custom settings page, which is all of these wonderful little fields that I defined here, which are the start and end times for your business. I've also got a business address, a business phone, and the Google Maps URL. I've also created 2 templates, which are going to be used in the widgets. So like if I go now into appearance, business hours, and location, I can set my start time. I'm going to start at 11 a.m. and 5 p.m. We're just going to do 1. And I'm going to put the address as any place, US, and a phone number of 727-555-1212, and Google. Going really fast now, guys. I can do it. I can do it. So what we want to do here is, this is when I'll use the customizer on, because I want to add 2 widgets here for the business settings, for the business hours and the business location. So I'm going to create a widget, a sidebar, add a widget. We want to do a pods list view. Oops, wrong one. Wrong one. Delete it. Sorry. Pods list items. There it is. Top of the list. I'm going to call this business hours and business hours. And look. Ta-da!
We should
Automatic
clarify that the both for settings, list items as well as single item work exactly the same as setting.
Yep. Yep. Actually, this one doesn't work on single items. I don't know why. So for pod settings,
I'll find out and fix it.
Okay, you do that. And you're going to get these 2 templates as well when you get the files. So any place US on the phone. Ta-da! You've now done everything your client asked for.
And now they have to enter all the consonant.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. How did you add the pod to the appearance section?
He added a widget.
Added it as a widget?
Yep.
Yep.
We have widgets for all of the things that you can do with the shortcode.
Yep.
I think Tiff was also asking, when you imported that pod, because it was a settings pod, it went into that admin dashboard on the left-hand side, the admin menu.
Yep.
That it just shows up in that.
Yeah, it's true. When I did that import, what happened was it created this. It pulled this particular pod in, and it pulled in these 2 templates, business hours and business details. And business details is basically just a simple URL with the address and the phone. And the business hours is a little more complicated. It is a if and else statement for each day of the week. And if the Monday doesn't have a value, the start date, if the Monday start has a value, it shows those 2. Otherwise, it shows closed. And it does the same thing for each day of the week. So it's a pretty useful little thing. Once I figured that out, I use this on all of my client sites that I do. And one other little thing I wanted to show you was that we could change the theme and it wouldn't make one bit of difference. We don't lose anything. So if I go to live preview on 2017, other than the fact that it's a little more hideous, that's really big. But you've got your staff page. It still works. You've got your contact form. It still works. Yeah, it's all there. You just got to play with the styles. And the client list still works. I didn't lose anything by switching themes. And that's one of the primary, one of the main reasons we actually talk about using pods templates and the pod shortcodes and stuff like that. You can do this with PHP, but you'd have to either put it in a plugin to override those files or put them in a theme file and copy that theme around. So that's it for this particular thing. I know I went really fast toward the end there. I really apologize about that. You will be getting the full exports of each of the things. You'll be getting that document here that shows you the structure so that you can go through and actually create this one by one. So there you go, guys.
Well, thank you for that, Jim. That was a great walkthrough. I hope you guys have enjoyed this this session. If you have additional questions or want to follow up on this, I would encourage you to join the Pods Slack channel as a way to continue that conversation. We are going, since this was recorded, we will make it available for replay, and you'll find the replay will probably be posted in a number of locations, whether it's on the blog at WP Studio, or we'll announce it on the Pod Slack channel, or I'll even send you an email because you signed up for this event. We'll take care of all that, and we'll also tell you where you can download the things that, just in case you stepped out early or something like that. So I just want to thank you guys for coming on and spending time showing some of the really cool things you can do with pods. And is there anything else we want to say before we sign off?
Thank you guys for continuing to support our project. We could not do what we do at Pods without the continued attention you give our plugin, how much you talk about our plugin to other people, and how much money you guys send us as friends of Pods.
Yeah, and the reviews are fantastic. So keep on doing those. Those are great if you haven't done one yet and you love Pods. Put one up there. It helps us. Word of mouth is great. And also, we're going to be doing a fundraiser soon where we're going to be selling shirts. So be on the lookout for that, and we'll have some more shirts out there and some really special and unique shirts for our friends of Pods, people who have become a monthly donor of the Friends of Pods program.
Awesome. Well, thanks, everybody. We're going to end this webinar. I hope you guys have a great rest of a Wednesday, and definitely see you on Slack. Take care, everybody.
Thank you, guys.